Yes, that is the famous Pecos River. We're not too far from Mexico. I'm in a rest area or a picnic area, and go that way a little bit and you'll be into Mexico. But here's where the van is parked, and as you know, you can stay 24 hours in Texas. And I met a couple tonight from Switzerland, and there's the moon, full moon, and here they are. They have a website. I'll put a link below, but it's in Swiss German. Sunrise over the desert at this rest area, and here are my new friends. Martin and Amy are traveling full-time with their two children in this fifth wheel, and their dream is to immigrate from Switzerland, where it is quite liberal, to America or Canada. America is hard to get into, but maybe they can make it to Canada one day and achieve their dream. I certainly hope so. Fans of American Western history should know what the phrase west of the Pecos means, and I am now west of the Pecos. We're going to travel down a ways and look at some interesting geology. Notice how the rock layers are offset and actually bent. So this was a part of the orogeny or mountain building of West Texas. It's still early in the morning. We're going to run here to a place called Langtree, Texas. And of course, the most famous resident of Langtree was Judge Roy Bean, the hanging judge of the law west of the Pecos. And we're going to run across the road here in just a moment, and we're going to see his saloon and where he dished out his courtroom, and the Jersey Lil, his bar. He wanted the English actress or singer Lily Langtree to come. He was a fan, but she never did. But that's the way the town got the name, and the Jersey Lil was his saloon and courtroom. And anyway, I'm too late. When I first read about this place years ago, it was wide open. Now they built a visitor center and want to charge admission to get in there, and I'm too cheap to do that. But there's the famous building behind the fence, so I'm not sure they're even open yet. But we're going to head on down the road to a national park called Big Bend. Big Bend is a huge national park way out in West Texas, a highly unpopulated area, or sparsely populated. And we're going to go through some stark landscapes, I think, to get there, because we're going to drive through this canyon. And out here in West Texas, the airport is often the quickest way to get anywhere. And out here, I'm the only one driving the speed limit, and she's so few cars that when somebody driving 90 comes up on you, he says, "We don't need no stinking passes." This is a beautiful canyon. I wonder what the name is. Oh, Sanderson Canyon. Last fall, I was at Palo Duro Canyon in northern Texas, and it's the second largest in the country. What was the name of this canyon again? Oh yeah, Sanderson Canyon. This canyon didn't have much behind. I wonder why it's called Sanderson Canyon. Oh, it's a town of Sanderson. But this canyon is a pretty big one too. So, what was the name of this canyon again? Oh, Sanderson Canyon. I think I got it figured out. Somebody in the public work department got a real good deal on Sanderson Canyon signs, and they said, "Darn it, Joe, since you went and bought them, we're going to use them all now." Anyway, let's get some national park information. Oh, I don't think there. That doesn't look like it either. I know a little bit about the park, though. It's one of the largest ones. It has mountain and desert terrain and is bordered by more than 100 miles above the Rio Grande River. And the only way to get there is to go through Marathon, Texas, and here we are in Marathon. Once you turn on the park road, it's a long way to the main visitor center, about 70 miles. But it goes quickly when you're out in the desert. So there's the "Welcome to Big Bend National Park" sign, and the tourists taking all kinds of angles of it. And I just captured it on the video as we go through. Now we're going to run up here through the pass in the mountains to a place called the Persimmon Gap Visitor Center, and it's going to be a little bit disappointing when we get there, I guess, because the visitor center buildings are closed, and they do have tables out front with most of their literature. And here we are. The entrance gate is unmanned, and it says stuff your money in the box. And since I have the pass, I don't have to I guess I don't have to show it to them. But anyway, all right, they're sucking out the pit toilets. And here is the visitor center, and you see they're out front in the sun passing out literature about the park. And I picked up a map, and we will head on into the park because it's still a long ways. Here's the first stop. It's a fossil exhibit. On that mesa in front of it, that advertises a panoramic view of the desert, but I've been driving through the desert for hours, so I think I will pass on walking up the hill and looking at the same stuff I've been looking at for a while. But as you enter the museum area or the display area, there's a piece of petrified wood they don't even identify. But most of these fossils are found here in the park, or at least parts of them. There's a big fish head. And this is a horrible job of videography, but there is the skull of a Triceratops relative. And at one time there was a swamp for the dinosaurs, and they even had this big crocodile or alligator thing, and there's his skull. It wasn't found here, but it's big too. And then of course we have some Tyrannosauruses around, and the Tyrannosauruses, they wanted to chase the birds, but here's a T-Rex skull. It wasn't found here either, and these are all replicas anyway. But here is a herbivore, a big sauropod, and that's 6 foot tall leg bone. And here's a different kind of Tyrannosaur relative. Here's the view of the Sonoran Desert outside the fossil exhibits. And if you climb that mesa, that hill, you could be just seeing the same thing, just a little higher. Notice the flowering cactus or desert plants on both sides of the road. And after a long time driving, we are approaching the main visitor center. And as you can see, the campgrounds are all full, so I couldn't stay if I wanted to. However, one of the great claims to fame of this park is it says Dark Sky Park. That means, hey, look, there are virtual dinosaurs running around the visitor center. But you can see most of the astronomical phenomena here if you stay at night in the dark. And by just chance, I'm here at the full moon, which is actually the worst time to try to see the Milky Way and all the astronomical phenomena. Heading north back out of the park, and we're going to go to Marathon. Hey, look, bighorn sheep over on the left. Darn it, come out, phone. Yeah, I probably didn't get them, but there was a whole herd of them walking along the side of that hill. All right, another look at the interesting geology and those flowering desert plants as we head back toward the Persimmon Gap Visitor Center and the exit of the park. There sure is a lot of law enforcement activity in the area, and we are just miles from the Mexico border. You can actually drive to a location in the park where you're right on the Rio Grande, and you can actually wade across and be in Mexico, because there's a port of entry, but it's closed right now. And even on the way back out of the park, you see the mountains are still interesting. And here we are back at Marathon, and we're going to start heading back east and traveling back home. How about a big bendy pizza to take you with you back on